Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana-Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Darati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapata Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Saganaragunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrisabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhupya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashachya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayed Shrinvatam Svakata Krishna Punyashravana Kirtana Ridyandastoya Bhadrani Vidunuti Suhritsatam Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Before reciting the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the person of Godhead Narayana, unto Nara Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Shila Vyasadeva, the author. Sri Krishna, the person of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the person of Godhead who is praised with transcendental songs is established as an irrevocable fact. And the Gaudiya Vaishnava ki jai, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so today we continue chapter 20, text number 33. Tattvam kuru maya dishtam apramatta prajapate madadesha karo loka sarvatra apnuti shobhanam. Tat, therefore, tvam, you, kuru, do, maya, by me, adishtam, what is ordered, apramatta, without being misguided, Prajapate, O master of the citizens, Mad, of me, Adeshakara, who executes the order, Loka, any person, Sarvatra, everywhere, Apnoti, achieves, Shobhanam, all good fortune. Translation. My dear king, O protector of the citizens, henceforward be very careful to execute my orders and not be misled by anything. Anyone who lives in that way, simply carrying out my orders faithfully, will always find good fortune all over the world. So the Lord is now speaking to Prithu Maharaj. Purport. The sum and substance of religious life is to execute the orders of the Supreme Person of Godhead, and one who does so is perfectly religious. In Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Lord Krishna says, Manmana bhava mad bhakta, just think of me always and become my devotee. Just think of me always and become my devotee. 1865 Bhagavad Gita. Furthermore, the Lord says, Sarvadharmam parityagya mamekam sharanam vraja. Give up all kinds of material engagements and simply surrender unto me. Bhagavad Gita 1866. This is this is the primary principle of religion. Anyone who directly executes such an order from the personality of Godhead is actually a religious person. Others are described as pretenders, for there are many activities going on throughout the world in the name of religion which are not actually religious. For one who executes the order of the Supreme Person of Godhead, however, there is only good fortune throughout the world. Text number 34. Maitreya Uvacha Iti Vanyasya Rajarše Pratinandyarthavadvacha Pujito Nurgitaivainam Kantum Chakre Chuto Matim. Maitreya Uvacha, the great sage Maitreya, continued to speak. Iti thus, Vainyasya, of the son of King Vena, Prithu Maharaj, Raja Rishe, of the saintly king, Pratinandya, appreciating, Arthavat, Vacha, the prayers which were full of meaning, Pujita, being worshipped, Anugritva, sufficiently benedicting, Nam, King Prithu, Gantum, to go from that place, Chakre, made up, Achyuta, the infallible Lord, Matim, his mind. Translation. The great saint Maitreya told Vidura, the Supreme Person of Godhead amply appreciated the meaningful prayers of Maharaj Prithu. Thus, after being properly worshipped by the king, the Lord benedicted him and decided to depart. Purport. Most important in this verse are the words Pratinandyartavad Vacha, which indicate that the Lord appreciated the very meaningful prayers of the king. When a devotee prays to the Lord, it is not to ask for material benefit, but to ask the Lord for his favor. He prays that he may be engaged in the service of the Lord's lotus feet, birth after birth. Lord Chaitanya, therefore, uses the words Mama Janmani Janmani, which means birth after birth. Because a devotee is not even interested in stopping the repetition of birth, the Lord and the devotee appear in this material world birth after birth, but such births are transcendental. In the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord informed Arjuna that both he and Arjuna had undergone many, many births previously, but the Lord remembered everything about them, whereas Arjuna had forgotten. The Lord and his confidential devotees appear many times to fulfill the Lord's mission. But since such births are transcendental, they are not accompanied by the miserable conditions of material birth, and they are therefore called divya, transcendental. One must understand the transcendental birth of the Lord and the devotee. The purpose of the Lord's taking birth is to establish devotional service, which is the perfect system of religion, and the purpose of the birth of devotee is to broadcast the same system of religion or the bhakti cult all over the world. Prithu Maharaj was an incarnation of the power of the Lord to spread the bhakti cult, and the Lord blessed him to remain fixed in his position. Thus, when the king refused to accept any material benediction, the Lord appreciated that refusal very much. Another significant word in this verse is achyuta, which means infallible. Although the Lord appears in this material world, he is never to be considered one of the conditioned souls, who are all fallible. When the Lord appears, he remains in his spiritual position, uncontaminated by the modes of material nature, and therefore in Bhagavad Gita the Lord expresses the quality of his appearance as Atma Maya, performed by internal potency. The Lord, being infallible, is not forced by material nature to take birth in this material world. He appears in order to re-establish the perfect order of religious principles and to vanquish the demoniac influence in human society. Text number 35 to 36. देवर्षि पितृगन्धर्वा सिद्धचारणपन्नगा किन्नरपार्श् किन्नराप्सरसो मर्त्या खागा भूतान्यनेकशा यज्ञेश्वरादियारग्ना वाग्विद्याञ्जलिभक्तिता सभाजिता ययुः सर्वे वैकुण्ठानुगतस्तथा. Deva, the demigods, Rishi, the great sages, Pitr, inhabitants of Pitraloka, Gandharva, inhabitants of Gandharvaloka, Siddha, inhabitants of Siddhaloka, Charana, inhabitants of the Charanaloka, Pannaga, inhabitants of the planet where serpents live, Kinnara, inhabitants of the Kinnara planets, Apsara, inhabitants of the Apsaraloka, Martya, inhabitants of the earthly planets, Khaga, birds, Bhutani, other living entities, Anekasha, many, Yagnaishvara Diya, with perfect intelligence of thinking as part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, Ragna, by the king, Vag, with sweet words, Vitta, wealth, Anjali, with folded hands, Bhaktita, in a spirit of devotional service, Sabhajita, being properly worshipped, Yayu went, Sarve all, Vaikuntha of the Supreme Person of Godhead Vishnu, Anugata, followers, Tata, from that place. Translation. King Prithu worshipped the demigods, the great sages, the inhabitants of Pitraloka, the inhabitants of Gandharvaloka, and those of Siddhaloka, Charanaloka, Pannagaloka, Kinnaraloka, Apsaraloka, the earthly planets, and the planets of the birds. He also worshipped many other living entities who presented themselves in the sacrificial arena. With folded hands, he worshipped all these, as well as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the personal associates of the Lord, by offering sweet words as much wealth as possible. After this function, they all went back to their respectful abodes, following in the footsteps of Lord Vishnu. Purport. In modern so-called scientific society, the idea is very prevalent that there is no life on the other planets, but that only on this Earth do living entities with intelligence and scientific knowledge exist. And then there is the ugly aliens. The Vedic literatures, however, do not accept this foolish theory. The followers of Vedic wisdom are fully aware of various planets inhabited by varieties of living entities such as the demigods, the sages, the pitas, the Gandharvas, Pannagas, Kinnaras, Charanas, Siddhas, Apsaras, and the Apsaras. The Vedas give information that in all planets, not only within this material sky, but also in the spiritual sky, there are varieties of living entities. Although all these living entities are of one spiritual nature, in quality the same as the Supreme Person of Godhead, they have varieties of bodies due to the embodiment of the spirit soul by the eight material elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence, and false ego. In the spiritual world, however, there is no such distinction between the body and the embodied. In the material world, distinctive features are manifested in different types of bodies in the various planets. We have full information from the Vedic literature that in each and every planet, both material and spiritual, there are living entities of varied intelligence. The Earth is one of the planets of the Burloka planetary system. There are 6 planetary systems above Burloka and 7 planetary systems below it. Therefore, the entire universe is known as Chaturdash Bhuvana, indicating that it has 14 different planetary systems. Beyond the planetary systems, in the material sky, there is another sky, which is known as Paravyoma, or the spiritual sky, where there are spiritual planets. The inhabitants of those planets engage in varieties of loving services unto the personality of Godhead, which include different rasas or relationships known as Dasya Rasa, Sakhya Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, Madhurya Rasa, and above all, Parakya Rasa. This Parakya Rasa, Paramur love, is prevalent in Krishna Loka, where Lord Krishna lives. This planet is also called Goloka Vrindavan, and although Lord Krishna lives there perpetually, he also expands himself in millions and trillions of forms. In one of such forms he appears on this material planet in a particular place known as Vrindavan Dham, where he displays his original pastimes of Goloka Vrindavan Dham in the spiritual sky in order to attract the conditioned souls back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Oh Hare Krishna, Lebohang Prabhu and Vivek Prabhu and Shubham Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dhanvat
Uh,
Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Who is next reader?
Hare Bol Prabhu, Hare Krishna, please remember obeisance of Lord Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
So, yeah, I can read. Yeah, I can read Prabhu 1, 2 verse, and someone can.
Thank you.
Yeah, Prabhu. Thank you so much for reading, Prabhu. Bhagavan, text 37. Bhagavan api Rajashri Sopadyasya Chachuta Haran Eva Mano Mumsya Swadhama Pratyapad Yatha Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Api also Rajashris of the saintly king, Sa Upadayasya, along with all the priests, Cha also Achyuta, the infallible Lord, Haran, a captivating Eva, indeed, Manha, the mind, Manushya of him, Swadhama, to his abode, Pratyapad returned. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The infallible Supreme Positive Godhead, having captivated the minds of the king and the priests who were present, returned to his abode in the spiritual sky. Purport. Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is all spiritual, he can descend from the spiritual sky without changing his body, and thus he is known as Achyuta or infallible. When a living entity falls down to the material world, however, he has to accept material body, and therefore, in his material embodiment, he cannot be called Achyuta. Because he falls down from his real engagement in the service of the Lord, the living entity gets a material body to suffer or try to enjoy in the miserable material conditions of life. Therefore, the fallen living entity is Achyuta, whereas the Lord is called Achyuta. The Lord was attractive for everyone, not only the king but also the priestly order, who were very much addicted to the performances of Vedic rituals. Because the Lord is all attractive, he is called Krishna, or one who attracts everyone. As will be explained in the next verse, the Lord appeared in the sacrificial arena of Maharaj Prithu as Kshirodakashai Vishnu, who is plenary expansion of Lord Krishna. He is the second incarnation from Karanodakashai Vishnu, who is the origin of material creation and who expands as Garbhodakashai Vishnu, who then enters into each and every universe. Kshirodakashai Vishnu is one of the Purushas who control the material modes of nature. Text 38. Adarsh, Adarshritaya Namaskritya Nripa Sandrishtamane Avyaktva Avyaktaya Avyaktaya cha Devanam Devayasva Puran Puram Yayu Adrishtaya unto one who is behind the uh, pure view of material vision. Nama Kritya, offering obeisances, Nripa, the king, Sandrishta, revealed Atmane, unto the supreme soul, Avyakta, who is behind the manifestation of the material world. Cha also Devanam, of the demigods Devaya, unto the Supreme Lord. Swapuram, to his own house. You returned. Translation. King Prithu then offered his respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supreme Lord of all demigods. Although not an object of material vision, the Lord revealed himself to the sight of Maharaj Prithu. After offering obeisances to the Lord, the king returned to his home. Purport. The Supreme Lord is not visible to material eyes, but when the material senses are inclined to the transcendental loving service of the Lord and are those purified, the Lord reveals himself to the vision of the devotee. Avyakta means unmanifested. Although the material world is the creation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is unmanifest to material eyes. Maharaj Prithu, however, developed spiritual eyes by his pure devotion service. Here, therefore, the Lord is described as Sandarshitatma, for he reveals himself to the vision of the devotee, although he is not visible to ordinary eyes. Those ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of fourth canto, 20th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled Lord Vishnu's appearance in the sacrificial arena of Maharaj Prithu. Haribol, 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 Haribol. Chapter 21, Instruction by Maharaj Prithu. Instruction by Maharaj Prithu. Okay. Now I have to go. Yeah. Maitreya Uvacha Am Mauktikai Kushuma Sagprir Sag Sarbhir Dukulai Dukulai Swarana Toranai Surabhibhir Tu Pair Manditam Tatra Vai Maitreya Uvacha. The great sage Maitreya continued to speak. Auk Mauki Mukti with lilies, Kushuma of flowers, Sarbhir with garlands, Dukulai cloths, Swarana golden, Toranai by gates, Mahasurabhi highly perfumed, Dhupai by incense, Mandit Manditam decorated, Tatra here and there. Why? Certainly. Translation. The great sage Maitreya told Vidura, when the king entered his society, it was very beautifully decorated with service, beautifully decorated to receive him with pillars, flower garlands, beautiful cloth, and golden gates, and the entire city was perfumed with highly fragrant incense. Purport. Real opulence is supplied by natural gifts such as gold, silver, pillars, valuable stones, fresh flowers, trees, and silken cloth. Thus, the Vedic civilization recommends opulence and decoration with these natural gifts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such opulence immediately changes the conditions of the mind, and the entire atmosphere becomes spiritualized. King Prithu's capital was decorated with such highly opulent decorations. Keyboard. Text 2. Chandana Guru Toyardhar Toyardhar Toyardhara Ratya Chatvara Margatvat Margavat Pushpakastaka Phalais Tokmair Lajair Ar sorry Archirbir Architam Chandana, sandalwood, aguru, a kind of fragrant herb, toya, the water of ardara, ardara, sprinkled, dra- sprinkled with ratya, a path for driving a chariot, chatvara, small sparks, margavat, lanes, pushpa, flowers, aksata, unbroken, palhai, by the fruits, Tokmai, minerals, Lajai, wheated grains, Archarivi, waved lamps, Architam, decorated. Translation: fragrant water distilled from sandalwood and agru herbs was sprinkled everywhere on the lands, roads, and small sparks throughout the city, and everywhere decorations of unbroken fruits, flowers, wheated grains, varied minerals, and lamps all presented as auspicious paraphernalia. Text 3. स्वरंध्यायी कलाधि sorry स्वरं स्वरंधै कलाद sorry कदाली स्तंभै पुघापोतै परिष्कृतं तरुपलवा मलाभिः सर्वथा समलंकृतम् Savranidhai, Savranidhai, Sravanadhai, along with fruits and flowers, Kadali Stambhai, by the pillars of banana trees, Punga, Pothai, by collections of young animals and by processions of elephants, Parikritam, very nicely cleansed, Tarum, young plants, Pallava, new leaves of mango trees, Pallava, okay. Malabhi by garlands, Sarvatha everywhere, Samalankritam, nicely decorated. Translation: at the crossings there were bunches of fruits and flowers, as well as pillars of banana trees and butternut branches. All these combined decorations everywhere looked very attractive. Text 4. Uh, what the time? Okay, I can read last one. Prajas tam Deepa Vallibhi Sambhrista Shesha Mangalai Abhiyur Brishta Kanyascha Brishta Kundala Manditha Praja citizens come to him, Deepa Balibhi, with lamps, Sambhrita, occupied with Ashesha, unlimited, Mangalai, auspicious articles, Abhiyu, came forward to become Brishta, with beautiful bodily lustre, Kanyacha, and unmarried girls, Brishta, colliding with Kundala earrings, Manditha, being bedecked with translation. As the king entered the gate of the city, all the citizens received him with many auspicious articles like lamps, flowers, and yogurt. The king was also received by many beautiful unmarried girls whose bodies were bedecked with various ornaments, especially with earrings with collided with one another. Purport: offerings of natural products such as betel nuts, bananas, newly grown wheat, paddy, yogurt, and vermilion carried by the citizens and sacrated, sacrated throughout the city, or all auspicious paraphernalia. According to Vedic civilization, for receiving a prominent guest like a bridegroom, king, or spiritual master. Similarly, welcome offered by unmarried girls who are internally and externally clean and are dressed in nice garments and ornaments in all auspicious is also auspicious. Kumari or unmarried girls, untouched by untouched by the hands of any member of the opposite sex or auspicious members of society. Even today in Hindu society, the most conservative families do not allow unmarried girls to go out freely or mix with the boys. They are very carefully protected by their parents while unmarried. After marriage, they are protected by their young husbands, and when elderly, they are protected by their children. When those protected women has a class remain an always auspicious source of energy to man. Okay, always auspicious source of energy to man. Okay, who wants to continue, Prabhu? Haribol.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
I
much.
read that. Haribol. Thank you so much, bro.
Hare Krishna, Siddharth Prabhu, and Pranjal Prabhu, Dandar Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Sai Prabhu, and everyone else. Dandapranam, Jai Shri
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you,
Please
Prabhupada.
remember the way and all glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare
Haribol.
Krishna, Prabhu, Dandapranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Who will read? We have 20 minutes left. 25 minutes.
I'll read, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
शङ्खदुन्दुभिघोषेण ब्रह्मघोषेण चर्त्विजाम् विवशा भवनं वीरः स्तूयमानो गतास्मयः. Shankha, conch, Duttubi, kettle drums, Ghoshana by the sound of Brahma, Vedic, Ghoshana chanting, Cha also Ritwijam of the priests, Vivesha entered, Bhavamanam the palace, Viraha the king, Suyamanaha being worshipped, Gata Smayaha without pride. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prabhu, before I continue, is there any noise in the background that you can hear from here?
No, Prabhu.
Okay, wonderful. Translation. When the king entered the palace, conches and kettle drums were sounded, priests chanted Vedic mantras, and professional reciters offered different prayers. But in spite of all this ceremony to welcome him, the king was not the least bit affected. But the reception given to the king was full of opulence, yet he did not become proud. It is said, therefore, the great personalities of power and opulence never become proud. The example is given, that a tree which is full of fruits and flowers does not stand erect in pride, but instead bends downwards to show submissiveness. This is a sign. This is a sign of the wonderful character of great personalities. Text 6. Pujitaha pujayamas tatra mahayashaha पौराञ्जानपदां स्थान् प्रीतः प्रियवरप्रदः. Pujitah being worshipped, Pujayamasa offered worship, Tatra here and there, Mahayashaha with the background of great activities, Pauran the noblemen of the city, Janapadan common citizens, Tan in that way, Pritaha being satisfied, Priyavara Pradaha was ready to offer them all benediction. Translation. Both the important citizens and the common citizens welcomed the king very heartily, and he also benedicted them with their desired blessings. Purport. A responsible king was always approachable by his citizens. Generally, the citizens, great and common, all had an aspiration to see the king and take benediction from him. The king knew this, and therefore, whenever he met the citizens, he immediately fulfilled their desires or mitigated their grievances. In such dealings, a responsible monarchy is better than a so-called democratic government in which no one is responsible to mitigate the grievances of the citizens who are unable to personally meet the supreme executive head. In a responsible monarchy, the citizens had no grievances against the government, and even if they did, they could approach the king directly for immediate satisfaction. Text 7. Sa eva madantan sa evam adin adin an avadhyat chesh चेष्टितः कर्मणि भूयंसि महान् महात्मः महात्तमः कुर्वान् शशासावनि मण्डलं यशः कृतं निधायारुः हे परम पदम सः किं पृथु evam thus adini from the very beginning unavadya magnanimous chestitaha performing various works karmani work bhuyamsi repeatedly mahan great mahatamaha greater than the greatest guruvan performing shash shashasa rule avani mandalam the surface of the earth yashah yashashah yashah yashah reputation spritam widespread nidaya achieving aruruhe was elevated param padam to the lotus feet of the supreme lord. Translation: King Prithu was greater than the greatest soul and was therefore worshipable by everyone. He performed many glorious activities in ruling over the surface of the world and was always magnanimous. After achieving great success and reputation, which spread throughout the universe, he at last obtained the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But a responsible king or chief executive has many responsible duties to attend to in ruling over the citizens. The most important duty of the monarch of the government is to perform various sacrifices as enjoined in the Vedic literatures. The next duty of the king is to see that every citizen executes the prescribed duties for his particular community. It is the king's duty to see that everyone perfectly executes the duties prescribed for the Varna and Ashrama divisions of society. Besides that, as exemplified by King Prithu, he must develop the earth for the greatest possible production of food grains. He must develop the earth for the greatest possible production of food grains. There are different types of great personalities. Some are positive great personalities, some comparative, and some superlative. But King Prithu exceeded all of them. He is therefore described here as Mahatamaha, greater than the greatest. Maharaja Prithu was a Kshatriya and he discharged his Kshatriya duties perfectly. Similarly, Brahmanas, Vaishyas, and Shudras can discharge their respective duties perfectly. And thus, at the ultimate end of life, be promoted to the transcendental world, which is called Parampadam. Parampadam or the Vaikuntha planets can be achieved only by devotional service. The impersonal Brahman region is also called Parampadam, but unless one is attached to the personality of Godhead, one must again fall down to the material world from the impersonal Parampadam situation. It is said, therefore, Arya Pritsrena Parampadam Tataha. The impersonalists endeavor very strenuously to achieve the Parampadam or impersonal Brahmajyoti, but unfortunately, being bereft of a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they come down again to the material world. If one flies in outer space, he can go very high up. But unless he reaches a planet, he must come down again to Earth. Similarly, because the impersonalists who reach the Param Padam of the impersonal Brahmajyoti do not enter into the Vaikuntha planets. They come down again to this material world and are given shelter in one of these material planets. Although they may attain Brahmaloka or Satyaloka, all such planets are situated in the material world. सुत उवाच तद् आदिराजस्य याशो विजृम्भितं गुणैरेषैर्गुणवत् सभाजितं शतमहाभागवता तदा पते गौरशाराविं प्रहागृणन्तामर्चयन् Sutta Vacha, Sutta Goswami said that Adi Rajasya of the original king, Yashaha, reputation, Vijrabhitham, highly qualified, Gunai, by qualities, Ashe, Shai, unlimited, Gunavat, fittingly, Sabhajitam, being praised, Shata, Vidura, Mahabhagavata, the great saintly devotee, Sadaspate, leader of the great sages, Kausaravim unto Maitreya, Praha said, Granatam while talking, Archayan offering all respectful obeisances. Translation Sutta Goswami continued, O Shaunaka, leader of the great sages, after hearing Maitreya speak about the various activities of King Prithu, the original king who was fully qualified, glorified, and widely praised all over the world, Vidura, the great devotee very submissively worshipped Maitreya, Rishi, and asked him the following question. Text 9. Viduravacha Sobhikshita Praturvipare Labdha Shesha Surar Panaha Vibhratsa Vaishnavam Tejo Voryabhyam Dudhogam Viduravacha Vidura said, Saha, he, King Prithu, Abhik, Avish, Avish, Ektaha, when enthroned, when enthroned, Prithu, King Prithu, Viprai by the great sages and Brahmanas, Laktaha achieved Ashesha, innumerable, Sura Arhanaha, presentations by the demigods, Vibharat, expanding, Saha, he, Vaishnavam, who has received through Lord Vishnu, Tejaha, strength, Bahavo, arms, Yabhyam, by which Dudoha, Dudoha exploited Gam, the earth. Translation Sudra said, my dear Brahmana Maitreya, it is very enlightening to understand that King Prithu was enthroned by the great sages and Brahmanas. All the demigods presented him with innumerable gifts, and he also expanded his influence upon personally receiving strength from Lord Vishnu. Thus, he greatly developed the earth. Purport Because Prithu Maharaja was an empowered incarnation of Lord Vishnu and was naturally a great Vaishnava devotee of the Lord, all the demigods were pleased with him and presented different gifts to help him in exercising his royal power. And the great sages and saintly persons also joined in his coronation. Thus, blessed by them, he ruled over the earth and exploited its resources for the greatest satisfaction of the people in general. This has already been explained in the previous chapters regarding activities of King Prithu. As will be apparent from the next verse, every executive head of the state should follow in the footsteps of Maharaja Prithu in ruling over his kingdom. Regardless of whether the chief executive is a king or president or whether the government is monarchical or democratic, this process is so perfect that if it is followed, everyone will become happy and thus it will be very easy for all to execute devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhu, can someone else take over now?
Ribol. Thank you so much, Prabhu. One straight next.
If anyone can read, it'll be really awesome, or else I'll finish.
Jabong Prabhu, maybe the first one.
All right, as long as someone will read, Prabhu. That's cool.
Hare Krishna,
Yeah.
Prabhu.
Yeah. You can read now, Prabhu. Like,
Okay, Prabhu. Just a minute. Okay. Okay, it's text. I did not see. Kanu asya kritim na shrinoti abhigyon yad vikarmo chishtam ashesha bhupaha lokaha sapala upajivanti kamam adyapi tanme vada karmas shudam. Okay, synonyms. Ka, who, nu, bat, asya, King Piritu, kritim, glorious activities, na shrinoti, does not hear, abhigyanaha, intelligent, yat, his, vikarma, shivarli. Prabhu, isn't vikarma like forbidden action? Like action which has sin? Another word. Ochishtam, remnant, Ashesha, innumerable, Bhupaha, kings, Lokaha, planets, Sapalaha, with their demigods, Upajivanti, execute, livelihood, Kamam, desired objects, Adyapi, unto that, me, unto me, Vada, please speak, Karma, activities, Shudam, auspicious. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prithu Maharaj was so great in his activities and magnanimous in his method of ruling that all the kings and demigods on the various planets still follow in his footsteps. Who is there who will not try to hear about these glorious activities? I wish to hear more and more about Prithu Maharaj because his activities are so pious and auspicious. Purport. Saint Vidura's purpose in hearing about Prithu Maharaj over and over again was to set an example for ordinary kings and executive heads who should all be inclined to hear repeatedly about Prithu Maharaj's activities in order to also be able to rule over their kingdoms or states very faithfully for the peace and prosperity of the people in general. Unfortunately, at the present moment, no one cares to hear about Prithu Maharaj or to follow in his footsteps. Therefore, no nation in the world is either happy or progressive in spiritual understanding, although that is the sole aim and objective of human life. Text 11. Maitreya Uvacha Ganga Yamunayo Nadayo Antara Kshetram Avasan Arabdahan Eva Bubuje Bogan Punya Jihasas is it Jihasaya? Jihasaya. Okay. Maitreya Uvacha, the great saint Maitreya said, Ganga, the river Gangas, Yamunayo, of the river Yamuna, Nadayo, of the two rivers, Antaram, between Kshetram, the land, Avasan, living there, Arab Dahan, destined, ever like Bubu Jem, enjoyed Bogan, fortunes, punya, pious activities, jiha, saya, for the purpose of diminishing. Translation: the great saintly sage Maitreya told Vidura, my dear Vidura, King Prithu lived in the tract of land between the two great rivers Gangas and Yamuna. Because he was very opulent, it appeared that he was enjoying his destined fortune in order to diminish the result of his past pious activities. Purport: the term pious and impious are applicable only in reference to the activities of an ordinary living being. But Maharaj Prithu was a directly empowered incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Therefore, he was not subject to the reactions of pious or impious activities. As we have already explained previously, when a living being is specifically empowered by the Supreme Lord to act for a particular purpose, he is called a Shaktya Veshat avatar. Prithu Maharaj was not only a Shaktya Veshatar avatar, but also a great devotee. A devotee is not subjected to the reactions resulting from past deeds. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said, Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. For devotees, the results of past pious and impious activities are nullified by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The words Arab Dahan ever mean as if achieved by past deeds. But in the case of Prithu Maharaj, this was no question of reaction to past deeds, and thus the word ever is used here to indicate comparison to ordinary persons. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Avajananti mam mudaha, or a scale for sure. This means that sometimes people misunderstand an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be an ordinary man. The Supreme Godhead, his incarnations or his devotees may pose themselves as ordinary men, but they are never to be considered as such, nor should an ordinary man not nor should an ordinary man not supported by authorized statements of the Shastras and Acharyas be accepted as an incarnation or devotee. By the evidence of Shastra, Sanatana Goswami detected Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be a direct incarnation of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although Lord Chaitanya never disclosed the fact. It is therefore generally recommended that Acharya or Guru should not be accepted as an ordinary man. Text 12. Sarvatra Sikali Tadeshaha Sapta Divipaika Danda Dakra. Yo, Hakra. Cannot pronounce that last one. Anyatra Brahmana Kulad Anyatra Chutya Gotarataha Gotrata. Synonyms: Sarvatra, everywhere. Asikalita, irrevocable. Adeshaha, order. Sapta Dvipa, seven islands. Eka, one. Danda Drik, the ruler. The ruler who holds the scepter. Anyatra, except Brahmana Kulata or Brahmana Kulata, Brahmanas and saintly persons, Anyatra, except Achyuta Gotrata, descendants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vaishnavas. Translation: Maharaj Prithu was an unrivaled king and posed the scepters for ruling all the 7 islands on the surface of the globe. No one could disobey his irrevocable orders, but the saintly persons, the Brahmanas, and the descendants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Vaishnavas. Purport: Sapta Dvipa, refers to the 7 great islands or continents on the surface of the globe. 1. Asia, 2. Europe, 3. Africa, 4. North America, 5. South America, 6. Australia, and 7. How do you pronounce this? Oceania. Oceania. I've never heard of that. In the modern age, people are under the impression that during the Vedic period of the prehistoric ages, America and many other parts of the world had not been discovered, but that is not a fact. Prithu Maharaj ruled over the world many thousands of years before the so-called prehistoric age. And it is clearly mentioned here that in those days, not only were all the different parts of the world known, but they were ruled by one king, Maharaj Prithu. The country where Prithu Maharaj resided must have been India, because it is stated in the 11th verse of this chapter that he lived in the tract of land called Brahmavarta, which consists of what is known in the modern age as portions of Punjab and northern India. It is clear that the kings of India once ruled all the world and that their culture was Vedic. Prabhu, which sloka is this? I need to quote this one. The word aski, is it asikalita, indicates that orders by the king could not be disobeyed by anyone in the entire world. Such orders, however, were never issued to control saintly persons or the descendants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. The Supreme Lord is known as Achyuta, and Lord Krishna is addressed as such by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Senayo ubayo madhye ratam stapaya me chutya. Achyuta refers to one who does not fall because he is never influenced by the modes of material nature. When a living entity falls down to the material world from his original position, he becomes Achyuta, which means, is it Chutya? Which means that he forgets his relationship with Achyuta. Actually, every living entity is a part and parcel or a son of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When influenced by the modes of material nature, a living entity forgets this relationship and thinks in terms of different species of life. But when he again comes to his original consciousness, he does not observe such bodily designations. This is indicated in the Bhagavad Gita by the word Pandita. Pandita Sama Darshinaha. Bhagavad Gita 5.18. Material designations create differentiation in terms of caste, color, creed, nationality, etc. Different gotras or family designations, distinctions in terms of their material body. But when one comes to Krishna consciousness, he immediately becomes transcendental to all considerations of caste, creed, color, and nationality. Prithu Maharaj had no control over the Brahmana Kula, which refers to the leaders, the learned scholars in Vedic knowledge, nor over the Vaishnavas, who are above the considerations of Vedic knowledge. It is therefore said, Arche Vishnu Shiladai Gurushu Naramatir Vaishnave Jati Buddhir Vishnu Va Vaishnavanam Kali Mala Matane Pada Tirte Buddhahi. Shri Vishnu Namni Mantre Sakala Kalusha He Shabde Samanye Buddhi Vish.
Hare Krishna, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can I try to recite? Because
Yes,
no, it's not. Okay. Arche Vishnu Shiladir Gurushanaramatir Vaishnave Jati Buddhir Vishnurva Vaishnavanam Kalimala Mathane Pad Tirthembu Buddhi श्री विष्णुर नामनि मंत्रे सकल कौशल है शब्द सामान्य बुद्धिर विष्णु सर्वेश्वरेशे तदितर समधिर यस्य वानार कीस. Yes, you can continue.
Terrible, brother. One who thinks the deity in the temple to be made of wood or stone, who thinks of the spiritual master in the disciplinic succession as an ordinary man, who thinks the Vaishnava in the Achutya Gotra to belong to a certain caste or creed, or who thinks of Charanmrita or Ganga waters as ordinary water is taken to be a resident of hell. Padma Purana. From the facts presented in this verse, it appears that people in general should be controlled by a king until they come to the platform of Vaishnavas and Brahmanas who are not under the control of anyone. Brahmana refers to one who knows Brahman or the impersonal feature of the absolute truth, and a Vaishnava is one who serves the supreme personality of Godhead.
Ribble, okay, one more, Prabhu.
Haribo. एकादशीन महासात्रा दीक्षा तत्र दिवा कसम समाजो ब्रह्मा ऋषीणम च राजा ऋषीणम च सतमा ekada. Synonyms, okay. Synonyms. Ekada, once upon a time, Asit took a vow. Satra, great sacrifice. Diksha, initiation. Tatra, in that function. Divyau Kasam, of the demigod. Samajaha, assembly. Brahma Rishinam, of great saintly Brahmanas. Cha, also. Raja Rishinam, of great saintly kings. Cha, also. Satama, the greatest of devotees. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Once upon a time, King Prithu Maharaj initiated the performance of a very great sacrifice in which great saintly sages, brahmanas, demigods from higher planetary systems, and great saintly kings known as Raja Rishis all assembled together. Purport. In this verse, the most significant point is that although King Prithu's residential quarters were in India between the river Ganges and Yamuna, the demigods also participated in the great sacrifice he performed. This indicates that formerly the demigods used to come to this planet. Similarly, great personalities like Arjuna, Yudhishthira, and many others used to visit higher planetary systems. Thus, there was interplanetary communications via suitable airplanes and space vehicles.
Oh,
Can I take a screenshot, Prabhu? Can I take a screenshot? Is it 421? 421 4.
yes, Prabhu. 421,
Oh,
413,
sorry, Prabhu. The previous one. The
421,
previous was
412.
421 12.
Ribble, thank you so much, Prabhu. Now we gotta go to 6 second prayers.
Haribo.
Cheto darpanamaर्जनं भवमहादवाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वात्मस्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्
Namnamakari bahuda nija sarva shakti statrarpita nyamita smaranena kalaha eta trishitava kripan bhagavan mamapi turadaiva metrishamihai jina nurakraha.
धनं नन्दनं न सुन्दरीं कवितामाद्यगदीशकामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनि ईश्वरे भवताद्भक्तिरहेतु गीतैः ऐनन्दतनुज किङ्करं पतिनां विषवे भवाम्बुधौ कृपया तव पादपङ्कजाच्युतदीक्षितशुभचिन्तया
नयनं कलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदारुदया गिरा पुलकैर्निशितं वपुः कदा तव नाम गृहणे भविष्यति।
स्वायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रवेशायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दं विरहे न मे
Asisleva paratham pinasti madarshanam marmam hatam karotu va yata tata va viratulan pato mat prananatastu sa eva narpanaha.
Haribol. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benedictions to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by chanting your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
Almighty
so
Lord,
Almighty
I have no. You can continue, Prabhu.
I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I have this beautiful mind, nor do I want any number of followers. I am only one. So,
O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atom of your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my spirit decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes as like tolerance of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly in his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally.
Prabhu, I have a question, may I ask?
Haribol. Yes, bro.
So, Prabhu, when it is mentioned that there is Sepan Island, so it is present days Seven Islands, or Prabhu there is a mention of seven island like Jambu Dweep, 100,000 Yojanas, and I mean, which is that Prabhu, which is we should understand about.
Yes, Prabhu, these are different continents inside of Earth. And then there is different Vipas on the or the
So
islands on the
Prabhu,
Bhumantala system.
so Prabhu, when it is mentioned like seven island, so which should we understand about? I mean, nowadays also there is like seven island or
Yeah, these are different things, Prabhu. The Bhumandala planetary system, the islands that are explained, they are surrounded by different types of oceans, but we don't have Milk Ocean or Alcohol Ocean on the Earth. So it's different. Those are different
no
islands.
Prabhu, no Prabhu. Actually,
Hmm.
I mean to say that here in 2 days was in a verse there was mention of seven island. So which was that?
Here, this one quote explained. It is to be understood that all the dvipas or islands are surrounded by different types of oceans. And it is said herein that the breadth of each ocean is the same as that of the island it surrounds. The length of the ocean, however, cannot equal the length of the island. According to Viraragavacharya, the breadth of the first island is 100,000 yojanas. So see, these are the different islands that are surrounded by the different oceans, but these are not visible for us. And they're really big. Or portion is,
So
or
Prabhu,
Earth is one
actually
portion,
what
Jambudvipa is one portion.
actually what I am wanting to say you are not getting. I am saying that in today's verse there is mention of seven island. So I mean, which is that seven island? Is that this what you are showing, or is 2 days seven island? 2 days we have also seven islands like.
I don't remember the
Yes,
word. Who
it's
remembers?
the whole. It's not just the 7 continents. It's more than that. In today's verse, it's talking about 7 islands only, including the oceans, the Milk Ocean, the Butter Ocean, Yogurt Ocean, those things.
See here.
Prabhu, yeah, this one, Prabhu. Can I please take a screenshot quickly? Which one is this one? 4 point what?
Well,
I wanted to. Oh, this one is the 12th one.
yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, shouldn't we finish we're going to forget the 10, what do you call this? 10 offenses.
Yes, Prabhu.
And then we can continue after.
See here, it is said the 7 islands refers to the 7 great continents on the globe.
Yes, so thank you. I
Oh, the
wanted
extra
only
continents.
this to
Yes, Prabhu. We left here. Okay. Bang, Prabhu, you can start.
Bahu Janma Kare Yadi Shravana Kirtana Tabutana Paya Krishna Pade Premadana. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many births, he will not get the love of Godhead. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. The offenses against the chanting of the holy name are as follows. The first offense, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
Second offense is to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu.
Third offense, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master, thinking him as an ordinary person.
Fourth offense to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in the pursuance of the Vedic version.
Fifth offense is to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination.
Sixth offense, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord.
Seventh offense to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name.
Eighth offense to consider chanting of Hare Krishna one of auspicious rituals. Ritual activities offered in the Vedas as spiritual activities Karma Kanda.
Ninth offense, to instruct the faithless persons about the glories of the holy name.
10th offense to
10th
not have
offense.
complete faith. Yes, bro.
Continue.
Do not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Now let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone just like desire trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls.
Vanchakalpadtarubhyascha
Vasantrupavaccha Patitanam
Pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavibhyo
Namo
Namo
Namaha.
Namaha.
And
Ananta Shrind Ki Jai.
Jai.
And Lord Pranam Prabhu to all of you. Jai Sri
Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai. Thank you so much.
May God grant Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari
Thank you,
Bol.
Prabhu. Hari Bol.
See you again tomorrow.